right, we're going live. Welcome to the Big Nano Tech Show. I'm your host, Gabriel Foley. So wonderful to have you guys with us. And the whole idea for the show is to have a lot of fun, learn about the latest tech, what's going on in the tech world, and hopefully bring on some new developers and get to talk to them. And maybe people see, if you're out there, and you're a freelancer, maybe you can get your stuff out there. And we got a lot of experts on the show today. The first person I'd like to welcome to the show is Kevin Miller. I believe he's here with us today. Let's see. Here you go. All right, Kevin, how's it going?
Going well, man. How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. Let me just turn this up here a second. Okay, great. So, so wonderful to have you come on the show. I am a big fan of yours because I see you on LinkedIn. And I thought, man, this guy is so dedicated. You were doing one every day, and I was like, wow, this is so inspiring. And I just want to thank you so much for doing that because it inspired me to come up with a show. So that's why I wanted to have you on the show first to show my appreciation. And so yeah, please, if you could just tell us a little bit about your background and how you came to tech, maybe, and then you have this wonderful website, Coder Conversations, right? Coder Convos. So yeah, please go ahead.
Sure. So I've always liked technology, especially video games, and that's pretty much what ignited my love for technology. So I started dabbling with programming because I want to make my own video game, but back in the 90s, it was a lot different than it is now. There weren't as many resources. They didn't have like all of these courses, boot camps. So you pretty much had to buy one of those big programming books to, try to learn programming. It was really low level, like C and C++. So I dabbled with it, but it seemed a little too difficult for me at that time. So I kind of went the route of I want to actually be in finance, like running mutual funds. So that's how I ended up getting an accounting degree because, in order to be able to understand the stocks, you have to understand the financial statements. So that's how I got that degree. But, I didn't really like, accounting or even finance that much the more I got into it because I kind of like more immediate feedback. And in that industry, you don't know if you did a good job until years later, until you can see, okay, this stock went up. And it was really hard I couldn't get a job in that field because I was from a small town called Killeen. So, in the meantime, I was working at the Marriott Hotel overnight. And I just ended up teaching myself programming. And after a while, I took a year off and just studied programming full time. And after that year, I eventually got in at my first job at this company called Consultmore out in Arlington. And ever since then, I've been in the industry for about, I think 7 years. So it's been an interesting journey.
That's a good amount of time to get a lot of mud under your feet, and in the coding world. So what's going on now? I mean, you got this website, and I think you're starting a consulting business. I remember from one of your shows, and how's that going?
Yeah, so I found like the consulting thing is, I got the talent. I know people who can help me out on that, but the biggest part for me is getting clients. That's kind of what's slowing me down. So more than anything, I've been putting more focus into the Coder Conversations podcast. That really seems where I'm getting traction. So, I have a website for it. Coder
Yeah, and
Combos.
that's what inspired me so much. Is like I think it's a really important thing. Like a lot of new developers or freelancers, or they're looking for work. They want to get out there. They want to be heard. They want to learn the latest tech. It's so hard to also stay on top of the latest stuff because so much new stuff comes out, and you're just like, whoa, I didn't know that was even available, and I'm still working this other way.
Yeah, I think like I'm probably going to lean more into the podcast because people really do need guidance in this industry. There's like a lot of pitfalls. If you do pick a language, you have to pick the right language. You have to pick the right framework, or it's going to be hard to get a job. So, say for example, you put a bet on Ruby on Rails, and it kind of went out of vogue, and now if you didn't learn something new, you're stuck. So there's like a a lot of pitfalls that, I know business is business and people have to sell their courses, and boot camps are not going to give you the full picture. So I like to fill in some of the gaps and tell people, you can make a lot of money fast in this industry, but there's some pitfalls that can get you stuck if you're not careful.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, you don't want to pick a dying language or anything. I mean, there's still jobs on Ruby on Rails, especially if we're working for PayPal or something, right? But I totally get that, 100%. Is there any like new technologies that you heard about that might be of interest to other people who's watching the show?
So I've kind of heard Golang is starting to pick up a lot of traction. So I'm starting to look into that. I think more than anything, you should really focus on the fundamentals and, learning the underlying technologies. That way you can move, because a lot of the stuff you're doing really similar things between the languages and frameworks. Is ASP.NET Core that different from Spring Boot? Like a lot of the concepts transfer over. So if you understand like the structure they're going for, you should be able to jump between them quickly.
Right.
I've had a friend recommend that I should start looking into embedded stuff because, you don't really hear much about it. So, if you get good, there's probably a lot less competition.
Right. And there's all these like kind of coder, low code kind of programs out there too, that are good to learn too. It's kind of going that way, right? It's trying to, like, there's all these kind of different programs making it easier, but at the same time, you got to have your base, you got to have, your Python or your whatever, because you never know when you got to jump right in there, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So any, as far as anything else, any new, like, how's your podcast coming along? Is there any, what's the story on that? How can we find out about that and watch it?
The easiest place to go is coderconvos.com. I'm really trying to push it this year. I was recently on a podcast with Quincy Larson from Free Code Camp. So I was on his podcast, and that really helped give me some more visibility. What I really want to do this year is just get more and more guests on, just create interesting conversations. And I kind of want to avoid being like overly PC because, like on LinkedIn or, just YouTube in general, a lot of people, they feel like if they say the wrong thing, it's going to affect their career. But
hey, I couldn't even get on YouTube, man. They locked me out for 24 hours. We're supposed to go live. I didn't put it on the poster there, and I was like, what? I was like, oh my God, I got locked out. And then they locked me out of the Twitter X too. I couldn't do that one. Anyway, so it's all good. But Twitch was cool though, man. They just let me right on. They're like, okay, yeah, no problem. I mean, that's what their whole platform is, so.
Yeah, man, I'm glad to see you got your show going, man. I definitely feel like it's going to take off.
Yeah, thank you, man. And thank you so much. I was like, man, this guy is dedicated. You were doing it every day. I was like, I don't know if I can do that. I can do once a week, but I'm not sure about every day. But okay, so I got a lot of other guests on the show. I want to try to get to them too. So tell everybody where they can find you. Can they get your website is coderconversations.com. And are you on any social media like Instagram or anything?
The main one I'm on is LinkedIn, and the website coderconvos.com. That's probably the easiest place to reach me.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much, Kevin, for being on the show, and we hope to have you on soon again.
Absolutely, I appreciate you for having me on. You have a good one.
You too. Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. Just after a brief message, we're gonna go to our next guest. Daniel Ademeso from Xapic Technologies. Just hang on there one second. I'm Gabriel Foley with Gabriel Foley Associates. If anyone needs any kind of development service, back-end, front-end, web development, CRM integration, marketing, payment gateway, cloud service, no job too small, too large, give us a call, 415-669-6500, 415-669-6500. call us right away. That's my personal number, and I'll take care of you, and I'll get you the best developers out there that'll get you the job in the time you want it. So give us a call, 415-669-65. All right, we are back. And I'd like to welcome to the show Daniel Ademeso right here. I believe he's with us. There he is. All right, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Great. I just want to tell everybody Daniel is an absolutely fabulous coder and mentor. He's helped me out so many times. He's an absolute genius, especially with, well, at least my experiences. I'm sure you're great at a lot of different things. But AWS, man, you just know that as the back of your hand. And so I just wanted to thank you so much for all your help and welcome to the show. I was wondering if you could just tell me a little bit about your background, because even I don't really know. And how do you came to the tech world, and then we can go in from there and talk about your company.
All right. So, started about 7 years ago as an infrastructure DevOps engineer. But at that time, it wasn't called that name. It was more like a system admin. And I worked on-site infrastructure, doing a lot of IP networking and all of that before moving into full-scale DevOps. And I was doing a lot of system engineering support, application support, a bit of IT support and all of that. So I got my first full-scale DevOps gig. That was with TFS Africa, and I grew my knowledge of Terraform, of Docker, of Ansible, and all of that because it was quite demanding. And after which, I worked with several organizations on freelance, uh, on full time, on contracts, and like that. One of them is Tap Payment in Saudi, Binance, uh, um, IQ Lab, and several other top companies that I've worked with like that. I currently work with Elio, and I also work with Waterloo, and several other companies like that in DevOps as a DevOps engineer.
Right. Nice. So yeah, tell us a little bit about your company too. Is it I don't know, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, cool. Because it was flickering there. I wasn't sure if I was getting through. Sorry. Okay. So yeah. So is it APEC? Is XAPIC? That's silent X,
Yeah,
right? Tell us a little bit
exactly.
about your company, and I'm really excited to hear about it too, because I know you've been talking a lot about it on LinkedIn there.
Oh, yeah. So lately, I've been working on doing contracting, consulting, and IT training. Right. So aside from the IT training, which I somewhat want to specialize in the recent time, I think majorly between now and that of January, February, and March of next year. And I've been doing a lot of contracting and consulting lately. So, and it's not only in DevOps, we do that in product design, in full scale application development, all end to end application development, including security part of it. So that's what we do at Xapic. Yeah.
Oh wow, so sweet. So you're doing so it's like a course. Can we take courses there, or can we get in touch with
Exactly.
you?
Yeah, you can
Okay.
take courses there. So it's more like an instructor-led courses, not just self-based, where we'll leave you to figure out things yourself. So you have an instructor attached to you. Then after the course of your training, then you have a mentor that will mentor you into um, your successful path. Yeah.
Wow, so sweet. That is really exciting. I got to check your website out, and I'm going to go there myself. I always love to learn the newest thing going on, and also brush up on my skills. Like I feel like I'm lacking in some areas, and just like when I contacted you last time, I was like, wow, this guy is like you're so fast. You're lightning fast. I'm like, wow. And you make it easy too. I mean, as a mentor, I just have to put that out there for everybody. So Daniel Ademeso, thank you so much for coming on here. And can you tell us a little bit about any new technologies that you're excited about?
Oh yeah, I'm excited about the new wave of DevOps right now. moving into DevSecOps. And I don't just do DevOps; I also do Web3 DevOps engineering. So not just DevOps for DevSecOps, I also do that for blockchain. So that has a separate approach where you have to set up blockchain nodes, set up Ethereum nodes, and all of that. So doing all of the security for it as well. So that's interests me a lot lately. And aside that, the idea of DevSecOps, the AI ops, and where DevOps is going in general is really interesting and intriguing. And the GitOps approach, which I've always been, but currently it's being used more compared to the past. So yeah, all of that is one thing that interests me lately.
Right, in the DevOps world, cool. And I have another expert too on Web3. Can you tell me a little bit about like where's the Web3 kind of going? We know it's decentralization and it includes like NFTs and can you talk a little bit about Web3?
Though we're having a couple of shakedown currently in the blockchain system or the blockchain ecosystem, but it's definitely going to bounce back. I believe that, and because the system is here to stay, it's not it's not going anywhere because it's it's a decentralized system that have a lot of infrastructure in place. For example, when I was working with Elio, we have a lot of blockchain nodes, we have a lot of test nets that we have set up, right? Uh, so all of that, with the knowledge of zero knowledge technology, all of that is in place to shape and make sure that everything is in standards. So yeah.
Wow, sweet. Yeah, because I'm definitely excited about that with the way things are going with censorship and government control and stuff. You know, this blockchain and Web3. I think that's the future that'll bring the internet more to the people rather than the government, which it's never a good thing because whoever gets in power is like absolute power corrupts absolutely, right? So it's always good to have it decentralized. That's why I got this Bitcoin writer. I was really like him, and he's going to come up on later on in the show. So do you see? You said it. There was a little bit of slowdown. Do you see okay? So what are the technologies that are kind of like building that force and building things that way to free up the net?
All right. For that, there are several technologies, but depending on what the engineering lead sees, right, you can decide to go for Solidity. You can decide to go for you setting up blockchain nodes in, let's say, you want to use CoreWave or you want to use a specific infrastructure that has high GPU. You want to use Equinix. While I helped you with AWS, I know a lot of all this other stuff because when you're setting up a platform like this that requires very high GPUs and CPUs, you cannot restrict yourself to a cloud environment that only embrace multi-tenancy. So you sometimes want to stay alone and have your infrastructure in Equinix or have your infrastructure somewhere that will provide you there 100% for you, and you can easily tweak or iterate your infrastructure at any time and all of that. So, yeah.
Very interesting. This is fascinating stuff too, and I'm so excited to learn more about Web3 and crypto and stuff like that. And a lot of people, so many people are into it, and it's sort of like very compartmentalized. I want to say, right? I mean, you go buy your NFT and then or make one, and then you go you want to buy some Bitcoin, and then you got to get this wallet, and then you got this verification thing, and you got that verification to verify with this verification. It seems like, don't you think that there maybe the space is kind of waiting for some company to kind of pull all this stuff together and make it just really easy? Because it seems like it's kind of like you have to be a little bit knowledgeable to kind of get into it. Do you think, or am I wrong?
Yeah. Every technology has a bit of knowledge that you have to get into it before you can use it. So same as blockchain entirely. You can have technologies like zero knowledge technology that I mentioned, Web3. You can have Hyperledger, and all of these are looking strange to everyone, right? until you're in the system that you see that it's not that strange. For example, while you have your initial sealing of contract with a traditional way, or you can send validation and all of that. Right now in blockchain, there's something called smart contract. That is a way to seal a negotiation or seal a between two parties. You want to seal an agreement, so you have to use smart contract and all of that. So when you know that that's what you're using, you don't have any issue about the difficulty. It's just the terminologies that is different.
Right, right. Excellent. So wonderful to have you on the show. I have a bunch of other people to get to, so I want to. I think we're about 10 minutes, so I want to have you on the show again. In the future, we're going to do it every Wednesday at 3, between 3 and 4, and I hope I can have you on and we can talk about more stuff because there's so much stuff out there we could go on for hours, right? And with this show, I was so lucky that I got all you guys, you great guys out there, and you want to be on the show. So I want to, keep everybody, give them enough time to talk. So thank you so much, Daniel, for being on the show, and we'll catch up with you next time. Right after this short message, we're gonna have Ernest Gibbs III. I believe he's here with us, but we're gonna cut to a short message, and we'll thank you so much, Daniel. We'll catch up with you later.
All right, bye.
I'm Gabriel Foley with Gabriel Foley Associates. If anyone needs any kind of development service, back end, front end, web development, CRM integration, marketing, payment gateway, cloud service, no job too small, too large, give us a call, 415-669-6500, 415-669-6500. Call us right away. That's my personal number, and I'll take care of you, and I'll get you the best developers out there that'll get you the job in the time you want it. So give us a call, 415-669. I'm Gabriel. All right, we're back. We're back, and we've got Ernest Gibbs III. Are you still there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Great. Welcome to the show, Ernest. I'm so happy to have you on the show. I saw your LinkedIn page there, and I was like, oh, this guy is so cool, And you had I remember you had a completely different background, and you got into coding, and that's what really fascinated me about you. And I know, of course, you're an extremely talented guy. So I was just wondering if you could talk a little bit about your background, how you came to code, and then we can get into, the rest of it, or what the latest is, or what you're working on now.
So I basically came from the tech support background. I started tech in 2016 as a tech support technician. So I come from space, and from basically 2016 like 2019, I kind of got into internet support, which is kind of still in like the tech support realm. But around that time, I got my first certification, which was the A+ CompTIA, which allowed me to learn just different skills in computers, because I had never really learned any sort of computer skills up to that point. Basically, between 2019 and 2021, I kind of expressed interest in wanting to do something different in tech, which was I started with going between Salesforce and either maybe product owner. But in 2022, I settled on cloud. That led me to the Level Up in Tech program, where I got to learn skills such as AWS, Python, Terraform, Docker, Kubernetes. So that's basically where like that foundation of coding came from, which was in the program. In May of 2023, this past year, I ended up getting hired on at LogicGate as an associate DevOps engineer, where I basically currently build environments for just different clients. I've also learned Golang as well, which is kind of like part of my job role too. But just I do know Terraform, Golang, and Python as far as like coding is concerned.
Wow, that's amazing. And so great. So tell us a little bit about like what you're excited about in the technology world now. and how you see things going. Like everything's moving so fast with AI. I mean, there are all these different AI kind of programs helping coders, making life easier. Like getting stuff done that would normally take like 20 minutes, you get it done in like 2 seconds in some areas.
Right. I would go up and say like the most exciting thing is I can go up and say cloud, but AI is really the hot topic out right now. You can do just about anything with AI. You can create art, you can automate your task, of course. Cloud, I will go up and say, is still the hot fire thing out right now, as far as basically people are just moving over to the cloud because it can save you money, of course, and you can just create different infrastructures in cloud too.
Oh yeah. I mean, the cloud is like, yeah, it's amazing, like what's going on. And sometimes it feels like it's a little slow, or like if you don't have the right connection, or, it creates its own kind of problems. But really, when you link up all those servers together, you get that power, and which you wouldn't even have in your own setup. So in that case, it's like, it's quite an amazing thing. But at the same time, build like getting everybody onto it, right? Like in the beginning, it was just what's his name from Oracle, and he was like, oh no, I'm gonna put everything on servers, and everybody was like, what? Are you crazy?
Yes.
So anyway, yeah. So tell us a little bit about the cloud, and where you see it going, and the difficulties, or the streamlined nature of it, or whatever.
So I mean, I would go up and say that the cloud is just everyone else's computer, pretty much so. But that's the current term that you would see online. But the cloud is basically, you can just pretty much just kind of store things in storage. It can just be anything. You can set up websites in the cloud. You can set up and automate things in the cloud. Having just been in it for like 1 year, I can see the cloud just going just different places, honestly. And I would say I really haven't encountered, well, I would say as far as difficulties are concerned, it's not really a difficulty. It's basically just if you're new to it, it's always about upskilling and just being determined and wanting to learn just certain things within the cloud. I would say.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I remember working. I worked a little like in AWS, or setting different things up, and it's like, you click on something, and it's like, oh well, that's just a glitch, right? It comes with its own little thing. It's like, it's gonna you got to give it another 5 minutes because it's not gonna work right away, depending on the speed of something, or if there's something going on with AWS or whatever, right? So, and that's the kind of fun nature of the whole thing. So now at your job, you do DevOps, right?
Yes.
So you go, and so you have you have the company that hired you, and they kind of farm out your job to different clients. Is that right?
Well, basically what we do as far as what my current role is, I basically stand up infrastructure for different clients. And if a client wants to leave, or, just kind of want to take a break, I can just decommission that environment as well. I've come to know that, in DevOps, everyone's roles are just different in DevOps. It can range from big to small, just kind of depending on what the company needs and what the desires are for that company.
Right. It's like you're an important guy. I mean, DevOps are like the guys that are like, okay, we're in trouble. Give them a call.
Right. They're the middlemen. They're like the support guys.
Right. So it's so yeah, awesome. I mean, the coding world is good. Sometimes I talk to coders, and they're like, oh well, it's like a boring thing. I'm doing this, but I mean, you can make it fun, right? And that's what because there's so many possibilities. It's like magic. You're putting something together, whether you're working for a company, or you're putting your own thing, or making your own website or your own app, and you can make there's a million different ways to do like one thing. And so, that's what the magic is about, oh, wow, this guy, you're reading through it and you're like, what is he doing? And then at the end, you're like, oh, that's it, right? So, all right, well, do you do any freelance work for or anything like that?
Not currently. However, I do have like my own tech blog where I go and just kind of post just different sorts of concepts that I want to put out for content that people can learn from.
Cool. All right. Well, I know you're on LinkedIn. If anybody wants to contact you, can they send you an invite on LinkedIn?
They can send me an invite. I'm always welcome to go up and hear from people.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ernest, for being on the show. I really appreciate it. And well, hopefully we'll have you back and we can talk more. And I'm about to get to the next guest after a brief message. Thank you so much, Ernest, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Thank you. You're welcome. Bye-bye.
All right, take care. Gabriel Foley Associates. If anyone needs any kind of development service, back end, front end, web development, CRM integration, marketing, payment gateway, cloud service, no job too small, too large, give us a call, 415-669-6500, 415-669-6500. Call us right away. That's my personal number, and I'll take care of you, and I'll get you the best developers out there that'll get you the job in the time you want it. So give us a call, 415-669. All right, we got cut off there. Sorry about that. Okay, so the next guest we have is Harsh Mangalam. He is here with us right now. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, hi, Gabriel. So I guess there's some confusion. It's Tanuj. Yeah, you.
Oh, this is Tanuj. Oh, Tanuj. Okay, sorry, I clicked on it. Okay, Tanuj, sorry. So Tanuj, welcome to the show. And so you're with let's see here. Hyperledger, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and we're gonna talk about Web3. I remember you're my neighbor.
Yes. That's how we connected.
So let's a little bit about your background and how you came to tech, and then we can go from there.
Sure. First and foremost, thanks for having me today. It's great to be here to discuss these things. So in terms of my background, my education background is in finance, compliances, and management. And I started working in stock exchange where I did compliances for stocks and different companies, followed by which I also saw I have more potential in terms of building products and solutions, because of which I started my own company. And then I headed to US for my master's program. And after completing that, I am working right now as a product manager in blockchain space. It's been 2 years now. I have been very active in blockchain space. And when I say that, it's basically more towards research as well as working with industry companies who are trying to build solutions based on blockchain technologies. So right now I'm working with Hyperledger, where I am researching how we can start using AI for generating smart contracts. So that's something very exciting and interesting, because it gives people the power to be more creative in terms of developing things and not just be limited in terms of the development efforts. So that's what I'm working on right now. And in terms of industry, I am working as a product manager where I'm trying to build new solutions by using blockchain technology.
Oh, sweet. And this is with Web3, right?
Yes. So yeah, everything is in Web3 space only.
Okay. So cool. Let's talk a little bit about Web3. The last one of the last guests, Daniel was talking about, there was a little bit of slowdown in it. And how is that going? How is the Web3 space? Are we seeing any new technologies within the space? And is it going to take off? What's going on in there?
Well, there are many things when it comes to Web3, Gabriel. So first and foremost, it's an emerging technology, because of which everybody working in this space is still learning. They are trying new things which doesn't work out, and then they are fixing those stuff. So basically, if you see companies in blockchain space, there are like multiple companies who have actually created something very unique and which has made a really big impact in the market. But there are like many other companies to figure out solutions they are coming up with. They are not very unique and they are not very useful compared to the problems which we have. So right now, everybody is trying to figure out how they can make really good products and launch in the market. But you need to have that kind of user base who can understand your product and who can start using your product in their daily lives. So when we talk about Web3 as being an emerging technology, it's not very user friendly as we talk about Web2 products. We are still working on fixing those things, like how we can make it very user friendly and also very easy to use for the people in their daily transactions. So as you were having a conversation with Daniel about it, you mentioned, right, like you buy Bitcoin, you transfer it to your wallet, then for doing any kind of transaction, you connect that wallet to some other blockchain network, and then you do that transaction, right?
Yeah, and before you know it, you're like pulling your hair out. You're like, oh man, forget
Exactly.
this. And you toss your phone in the garbage.
So that's the thing. Everybody is trying to create their own world, and it's really hard for people to understand why we have different worlds when we can do everything in one single place. So that's where the main issue is, and it will take some time for people to understand how this technology works. But yeah, people are learning about it. We cannot expect things to change in few months, but yeah, it's the hard work of people in this space who are leading it forward, taking it forward, and making sure that it is something which people can start using it. It is something which makes more sense in terms of the utility which it provides, as well as the infrastructure which we are talking about. Because when we talk about blockchain, it's completely decentralized. And when we talk about decentralization, we are dependent on the peers or the participants on that network. So having something beneficial for these participants as well as people who are using the product and services, building this ecosystem is going to take some time. But yeah, it's super exciting space. A lot of new things happening around, and yeah, too many things to follow and catch up with.
I know, right? Like that's the way that tech is. It's like you could just like, whoa, I didn't know that you guys would build that whole thing in like
Exactly.
6 months.
Yeah,
And
besides, AI has been a big disruptor as well, where it keeps on adding so much content online. It's hard to catch up and keep up with the stuff happening right now.
right. Yeah, I use it all the time. Like I think it's better than the regular search, Although I noticed the search uses AI too.
That's true. That's true. Well, it's really fun to use AI, but the way it has impacted people's life personally, like my life is, I have been more creative when it comes to asking questions, more creative in terms of figuring out solutions. So it has been like really helpful.
Yeah, you have to you have to word things right. Otherwise, you don't think about it because we're having a conversation now and there's some things that are implied or that you might know as a human. But like if you put it into the AI and then you forget a few details, then it just gives you some kind of more basic. It also kind of like it scours the internet. So you never know when you're going to run into something that's not correct.
Yeah.
Right? If the
So,
internet
yeah.
is full of BS.
That's true. That's true. I think that's another topic for discussion when it comes to prompt engineering. If you are using AI, because yeah, that's something which people have to start learning even before asking. Because right now, if you see, people are much familiar with Google, like searching anything on Google. But yeah, when it comes to AI, you need to understand the basics, how the LLM model is working, and as per that, start querying it. So,
Right.
so yeah, this is kind of an advanced level of individual who needs to understand how to start using this technology. It's like having a machine gun but don't know where to load, how to
Right.
load the. So yeah, that's how it is.
One danger, and I wanted to get your opinion that I kind of see with it is just because there's different AIs, right? Like there's ChatGPT, and then there's another company, and so I kind of and I think that's a good thing because there should be like if everything's centralized, that's a danger, right? If one company is doing the AI framework and everybody's using that, then it can be manipulated. But if there's different companies, do you see anything with that, like in terms of like decentralization, or is there? Am I just fishing there? Is there nothing there?
No, we definitely have some pros and cons here. So my understanding or my education when it comes to technology has been, whenever we develop any new technology, it comes with pros and cons. It's never only pros. So when it comes to decentralization as well, we have the same issue, right? Like you are distributing the data with people. And the second thing is when it's distributed, it's hard to get back. You cannot roll it back. So that's a major thing. So if you design anything in blockchain space, you have to make sure that you understand the service or product which you are developing in and out. And only then you can launch it. Because once you launch it, there is no way going back. Yeah,
Right,
there's
right.
yeah, which you can easily do it in Web2 products, right?
Right.
Because of centralization. But decentralization is not going to help you with rollback. It never works.
Right. Especially like, yeah, with the ledgers and stuff like that. It's all published, right?
Yes, exactly. Once it's done, it's done.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Tanuj. I wish I had more time to talk with you, but I know that you're going to be back on my show. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
And so we'll after a brief, actually, I'm just going to go right into the next one. So hang on 1 second and we'll catch up with you soon, Tanuj. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
All right, we're back. And we have on with us today, Terrence Zamara. Here you are, from a writer from Bitcoin. How are you, Terrence? Can you hear me?
I'm doing all right, my man. Maybe
Great.
challenges, but I can hear you.
Oh, good. I turn it up. I don't know if you can hear me better now. But I'm so happy to have you on the show. And I just wanted to, maybe you can introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your background. You work for Bitcoin, writing articles, and you live in Zimbabwe. Maybe you can tell us a little bit how you came to tech and your journey there, and then we can go from there.
Oh, sure. Well, it basically started, I think, 4 or 5 years back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly. Yes.
Okay. So the thing is, economics, inflation, and stuff like that. A few years ago, Zimbabwe dollarized. Guess what? After a few years, even dollarization wasn't working anymore. So it stuck my mind, and I said to myself, maybe there has to be something else which is different, which is not in control of people in power. So I got to know about Bitcoin, I think, around 2017. And after reading a few things about Bitcoin, it made sense to me because, number one, it cannot be confiscated, which is a big thing from where we are here. Number two, there are no intermediaries, so that is for the people. It's not you don't have these stuff. People can actually transact between themselves using technology without having to third party. So I became interested, and after that, I think I pivoted to writing about Bitcoin, because as I was reading, I'm happy to share what I learned. So this is how I started. Then a few years later, I think 2020, that's when I started working for Bitcoin.com, which has been an incredible journey because people with like-minded people. I've got connections from virtually all the places on this earth, which has been amazing. So that's my journey so far. But obviously,
the internet has brought everyone together, especially from all corners of the world. And I read some of your articles. I find them very interesting. And tell us a little bit about the country. And I know it's kind of a landlocked country, right? It's near Mozambique, and that's from I know that country or that part just from the Bob Dylan song. I like to listen to Bob Dylan, and he has some words and then I think he visited that part of the country, and so I remember that. But there's some beautiful songs, and I know it's a lot of exotic animals and a beautiful part of the world there. Tell us a little bit about how Bitcoin, kind of fits in there. You mentioned earlier to me that it's very helpful with I don't know if it's the political situation or maybe the economy or how things are kind of restricted, and how does Bitcoin kind of help people give them the freedom, or talk a little bit about that.
Well, I think for many people, Bitcoin is a tool for those who want to be free. You want to protect your funds, your savings from banks and stuff. But for us, it's kind of like a lifeline. Obviously, most people are not. We are now using variations from Bitcoin, like Bitcoin Cash, sometimes even USDT, which is becoming popular here. But the key thing is, because we have these technologies, we can transact in ways that we could not do before. For instance, I'll tell you this. I think I briefly spoke about this. It's very difficult for me to subscribe to the New York Times, for instance. Why? Because our banks here, it's very difficult because of de-risking and a lot of maybe political stuff. Most international banks have sort of cut off Zimbabwe for other reasons, which I'm not at fault, but anyway, I'm the one who's suffering. So I cannot make a small payment, say $2-3 online.
Wow.
Why? Because we don't have access to Visa and MasterCard. All those guys are afraid of dealing with Zimbabwe because there's a risk that they'll be punished, by the US and other financial regulators. So, but if, for instance, if New York Times or these subscription guys were to accept USDT, then I'll be happy to pay. So, if in a nutshell, it tells you the possibility that these digital currencies bring to some of us who are cut off from the rest of the world.
Right. Now, in terms of because Bitcoin requires, over here, my experience, I don't know what it's like over there, but maybe do they have a tech kind of area where people are coming together, making it easier for people who are not so tech savvy to use Bitcoin, or is it kind of where is it going? Is it how are people using it? Is there any companies over there that are trying to make it easier to use?
Well, there are people that are trying. I wouldn't say companies. The other reason is, I think in 2018, the centers, like most central banks in Africa, they issued an advisory against the use of Bitcoin. The usual, it's very risky and things like that. So because of that, regulated companies are afraid of dealing with cryptocurrencies. And I think from that point, when that advisory was issued, most banks simply, started, blocking crypto entities. So because alone, without using the banks, some of these companies suffer. So how this system works here is we do it peer to peer mainly. So there are small communities, many communities. I belong to some of them. That's where you see this on WhatsApp chat groups. I'll be like, I've got 20 USDT, I need cash, then someone responds. But the good thing is, in the way we are doing it, there's actually liquidity. There's always someone who wants to buy, and there's always someone who's willing to sell. So it's working, but maybe not in a way that some of us would want it to work.
Right.
I don't know if that your question the way you wanted me to answer.
What's that?
No, I'm saying, is that your question? Did I answer you the right way?
Oh yes, yeah, absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Now there's another a little aspect which I think a lot of people don't seem to know, but I've been to El Salvador a few times, and because my wife's family is from there, and and apparently Bitcoin is moving to El Salvador. And the president there is really a big fan of Bitcoin. And so, do you know about that? Can you speak a little bit about that?
About what is happening in El Salvador?
Yeah, like how the company before, and it's moving there, and maybe that is. I know it sparked a little interest in the Bitcoin community. He mentioned, running the servers off of the energy that comes from the volcano. Yeah,
it was for most people in the Bitcoin community. It was such a gigantic move forward, because for the first time we had a whole government, giving some kind of legitimacy to Bitcoin, which is a good thing. Then I'm sure a few months after that, we're the first country in Africa, the Central African Republic. They also say they are moving forward to make Bitcoin legal tender. It's a bit slow, but what that has done is, I think it has brought Bitcoin to the fore. Most governments are thinking about this, maybe not in a way that they like, because obviously they will be like, we need CBDCs and things like that. But there are moves towards, having some kind of compromise, saying, okay, we cannot wish this technology away. People are still using it. We've issued advisory maybe 2, 3, 5 times. But people seem to be keen on this. So what can we do? Because obviously from their perspective, it's about consumers and things like that, which is okay with some of us. But protection of consumer rights and their rights doesn't have to, kill an innovation. Sometimes innovation comes first. Then when you allow an innovation to grow, then after that you can only start to think about maybe doing stuff like regulation. So I've
right.
seen this with a couple of governments. I think Botswana was the very first one to move forward, and I think Yellow Card was given some kind of license there. In South Africa, they declared crypto a financial product, which is a step in the right direction. Maybe it's not the what we all want, but at least we are moving forward. So this past year, it has shown us that it's possible. The technology is here to stay. We are using it, but also I think our leaders now have a different understanding of what Bitcoin is all about than what they did, say, maybe 5 or 6 years ago.
Right. Yeah, and it's a type of technology that I see just bringing the freedom, financial freedom to the people, rather than decentralizing it. I know the government, like the U.S., is trying to make its own Bitcoin kind of, or coin, crypto, and so they're trying to come together. It threw everything, the whole financial world into into a tailspin. And but I see it as something that's positive and good. And like you said, like if these big guys, these presidents, like in El Salvador, he starts talking about it, then other countries will get on board. And he's really focused on that. Like he goes to the conventions, and then he's creating this Bitcoin city, which will be interesting. And he's done amazing stuff in El Salvador. So I think in the future, like you said, it'll transform. It takes some time for this stuff to really catch on. I mean, at first, I remember I used to drive a yellow cab taxi in San Francisco, so I used to talk to all kinds of techies, and I remember when it first came out, the first like 3 or 4 months, people were making like $300,000, and they were just like, instantly, But of course, it's very volatile. But anyway, there's so much different technology coming out with crypto and blockchain and all kinds, and Web3. I see it as something definitely beneficial. So now, in terms of where do you see any movement there, like as far as I recently went up, right?
You mean Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Yeah. We've seen it. It's been growing. You see, the world can be a funny place sometimes, because a few years ago, these corporate giants, these financial giants, they were bad mouthing Bitcoin, all those kind of negative stuff. But now there's interest in Bitcoin from these big guys, BlackRock, and you name them. They all want a piece of that, plus something, you know, that instead of just listening to these guys when they badmouth all these new and upcoming technologies, sometimes they are doing it maybe for their own benefit because, if BlackRock were to join when Bitcoin is at 100,000, maybe they are at a disadvantage. But if they can, generate some kind of negative sentiment towards Bitcoin and price actually goes down, then as soon as it goes down, then they announce that, yeah, we are doing a Bitcoin ETF, things like that. They in a way, that first mover advantage that some usual the first guys had, it's sort of gone because they are almost at a similar level. So my plea sometimes is, people that are in Bitcoin, they shouldn't listen too much to people from the conventional finance, because this is just a fight. We A system has been created which can actually challenge an established financial system. Now,
Right.
there's no way that these guys are going to say, no, let it come. They're going to fight. And they've been doing that for a few years. But now, the time for fighting, I think it's over. So now we are at a stage where people are like, no, we might have to, invest in some of this because we don't know what's happening. But
Or try
everyone knows.
right.
Yeah, exactly.
Or they try to take it over somehow, or make their own.
So that's the point. So for us, it's a good thing, but also I think it gives those who it leaves them at a very disadvantaged state because once these big guys come in, then very few of us will be able to buy one single Bitcoin. Unlike say 5 years ago when it was say was it what 3,000-4,000.
Right. Yeah, it's amazing how it goes up. It's very volatile. I mean, I bought some at like 45,000 and it went down, but now it's on its way up. But that's just the way it is with investing. I mean, even the stock market, right, goes up and down, and people get excited, and so it's so great to have you on. I have a lot of other guests too, but I'm so happy that you came on, and you're such a wonderful person, and you type and write these great articles for Bitcoin. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll try to get you on next time or whenever you want. We're going to have a weekly show. It's going to be every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time in the United States. I'm in Berkeley, California. And so thank you so much for coming on, Terrence, and we'll be in touch.
Sure. It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
All right. And we'll be right back. I'm Gabriel Foley with Gabriel Foley Associates. If anyone needs any kind of development service, back end, front end, web development, CRM integration, marketing, payment gateway, cloud service, no job too small, too large, give us a call, 415-669-6500, 415-669-6500. Call us right away. That's my personal number, and I'll take care of you, and I'll get you the best developers out there that'll get you the job in the time you want it. So give us a call, 415-669-6500. All right, guys, we are back. And today on our next guest is Harsh Mangalam, and he's from LogRocket. Let's get you in here. There he is. How are you doing?
Yeah, hi Gabriel. I'm doing well.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. I love your page and the stuff you post in there. It's so interesting. Can you just tell us a little bit about your background and how, like, before you came into tech, what was going on, and then what kind of sparked your interest in it, and where you are now, and then we can talk a little bit about the technology and the latest stuff. I know you do front end, right?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, I'm Harsh Mangalam, and I'm currently a website maintainer at SureTrust and content advisory board member at LogRocket, and working as a full stack developer at Incush Technology.
Sweet.
So So I have contributed in many open source technology, I have contributed to Quick, Deno, that is another runtime like Node.js, but that is secure, and Remix and Solid.js, Medusa, that is basically Shopify alternative, and some of the I have built some of the Golang SDK for Stack and Medusa, and contributed to Chakra UI. So these are the some of the contribution that I have done in the past in the open source community.
Sweet, nice. And so when before you were into you got into and got your job and everything, what were you doing? You just started it right after high school, or were you into something else, or and it's much different in India, I know, than here in America, where we when we're teenagers we get into all kinds of mischief, and then by the time we're 20 we're like trying to figure out where we are. So when we start looking up how to be a coder, and then before you know it, everything starts.
Yeah, so basically when I joined my college in 2019, so in starting I have to go through some of the low level language like C++, but I don't like those system languages. So in starting I want to learn something where I can ship some product and people can see my product too easily, and that is more accessible. So I found web is the most accessible thing where I can ship something and people will look into that and they will visualize the thing that I will see.
They'll see a finished
So
product.
in starting, I have So in starting, I have too much interest in developing for web. Hence, I learned React, I learned Svelte, and a bunch of front-end frameworks to shape a better website on the web.
Sweet, nice. And so what's going on now in the latest technologies and in terms of your field that you like to work in? Is there anything that sparks your interest that you'd like to share with everybody? Because there's so much stuff, AI and different, even on the front end stuff, even web building. It's like, whoa, you can just like have AI build your website.
Yeah. Okay. So first, I will talk about the latest thing that is going inside the front end and the web space is now the good thing is that most of the framework are adopting the web standard. Like they are adopting the request, response, HTTP, fetch that is provided by the web. So previously, so everyone tried to implement this thing by own, but it is more complicated to maintain the things. So once the web standard have come, everyone is adopting this thing, and like next year released their 14th version recently in their next conf. Remix has released Remix V2. If I will talk about the lit, that is basically built on top of pure web component, that is released their version 3, and like Svelte have released their version 5 with some of the bunch of new things like runes, that is exactly like signals and that we already have in Solid.js, Quick, and these are the bunch of things that is coming inside the new meta frameworks, and most of the time now I am exploring Quick City, that is a resumable web framework that is outstanding if we compare to the another web framework like Next.js or Remix. So all these frameworks are hydration. So they basically hydrate once they're loaded inside the client browser. But if I will talk about the Quick, they are not hydrate. They are resumable inside the web browser. So they provide a better interactivity. So suppose you visit any website. So they are instant interactive. But you are not able to click on any button at that moment. You have to wait some time. So that wait is basically because there is a hydration state is going inside them. But once it come to Quick, there is no any hydration. You can directly interact with the site once it loaded. So now I exploring Quick City more and more because due to their resumability nature.
Sweet. So yeah, so making your life a lot easier, just learning that, bringing those technologies and using them. Do you find any? I mean, are you using that more for what you're doing now, or is that just something that you're interested in?
So basically more and more I'm exploring these technologies, and like in future I am going to give a try on Rust, because what I'm finding is the most of the JavaScript and TypeScript ecosystem is going on the native, like they are using Rust internally, like building their bundlers, building their transpiler, and like if you will see like Webpack, we are using Webpack in the JSTS ecosystem. And now we have a Turbo that is basically introduced by Vercel. So we have Turbo Repo, we have Turbo Pack. So these are natively written inside the Rust for performance reason. So yeah, I will give a try Rust next. I'm looking for Rust for my next tip.
Nice. And are you doing? I noticed you put freelancer on there. Are you doing freelance work now?
Yeah, sometimes in the weekend I'm doing freelancing, and if I got some time, I'm doing open sourcing also.
What's the tell our audience, like, what's the best way to contact you and if they want you to hire you?
So they can contact me directly on Discord. So I'm active, mostly I'm active on Discord, and most of the work I done I taken from the Discord server.
Okay, nice. See, so and your handle on Discord?
Yes, that is Harsh Mangalam.
Okay, oh, just your name. Okay, Harsh Mangalam. Okay, and
Yes.
then obviously you're on LinkedIn, so maybe somebody can contact you there too. Are you on Guru and Upwork?
No, I don't use any freelancing platform. I only use Discord.
Discord. Okay. Okay, everybody. Harsh Mangalam, thank you so much for coming on the show, and we hope to have you back soon to talk about the latest. And it was so nice. I know it's so early in the morning there for you. For here, it's like 4 in the morning or 3 in the morning over there. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time, and we'll be in touch. Thanks a lot. All right, everybody. This wraps up the show. We went over a little time, but please tune in to us, the Big Nano Tech Show, next Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm coming to you from Berkeley, California. My name is Gabriel. So to host the show and have these wonderful techs from all over the world. They're absolutely the top of the line. If you guys need any work done, I know hundreds. I'm from Berkeley, California, so I'm right across the bay from San Francisco. There's a lot of tech and developers that are looking for jobs, freelancers, or even teams that we can put together, and we'd be happy to help you out. Give us a call. The number is 415-669-6500, 415-669-6500. And this is Gabriel Foley, your host of the Big Nano Tech Show, and we'll catch up with you later.